Hey everybody, it's Steve from Corporate Gone Country. I'm an ex-corporate guy just trying to do country things. And the country thing I'm doing today is I'm going to war with what I hope is just rats and mice. We have a modular home out here in the country, and I've noticed about half a dozen places like this where what I think is rats and mice coming and going from underneath the house and out underneath the skirting. They keep digging around the rocks that I put in the way. This one here kind of looks like a super highway. Here's a spot at the corner of the house. So I'm going to use a variety of methods today to try and eradicate these rats or mice. I'm going to be using poison, traps, and I'm also going to be using things that I'll fabricate that are bait stations. Last night I went ahead and put just a couple of pellets of rat poison in each one of the places where they come in and out. And this morning, all those rat poison pellets are gone. We have a variety of methods that we're going to use. We have some poison pellets. We have some cube poison that we're going to hang in a bait station that we'll fabricate. We got some flashing here that we're going to make a little trap door. We got some traditional rat traps, bunch of mouse traps, hot glue gun, drill, wire, tin snips, wire cutters, and a reciprocating saw with a hacksaw blade, and we'll fabricate these former cup holders into a bait station as well. Because we're putting these traps underneath the house, I want to be able to shove them under there and get them out. So I'm going to put a hole in the corner here. So I've got the hole in the mouse trap. I've got this little wire here. I'm just going to thread it through that hole, make sure that it can't come out. And I'll feed the mouse trap into the hole with this, and then hopefully it'll snap, and then I'll just pull it out. So my able assistant is going to glue a piece of dog food onto that mouse trap right there, and that will make it difficult for the mouse to get it off the trap. And we're using an assortment of beef jerky and dog food to bait these rat trap and mice trap. So I'll create a little bit more clearance for the trap. So I'll slide the trap as far as I can underneath the house. And then I'll push it back as far as I can using the wire. And I'll try to get it far back under there so the skirting doesn't block it. So we have mouse traps baited in 3 of the holes. And now we're going to spend a little bit of time fabricating some base stations out of PVC material. So we'll fabricate one out of this PVC material and use this flashing as the door. The mice will come into the bait, they'll trip the door, it'll close behind them, it'll have a stop, and they won't be able to get out that way, so they'll be trapped inside the tube. So here we are cutting off a little bit of the PVC pipe to make the stop for the door. So we take that ring, cut a little bit out of it, so it'll compress inside the PVC pipe, and then we just fit it on the inside, and that'll create our door stop. And now we can create the trap door by just cutting it out of this piece of flashing. It's aluminum. So my able assistant uses a little ring as a template to make a circle to cut from, and then she cuts it out. And we end up with a little door like that. Then we'll drill a little hole and we'll insert a wire there from which we'll hang the door. And it'll just go in there behind the stop and it'll hinge nicely. So trial fit the door, hang it by the wire, twist the wire so the door doesn't come off. And then you'll kind of have to test it. It'll probably need some trimming to make sure it doesn't hang up. So go ahead and put some hot glue in the end of the PVC pipe and fit the stop ring in there so it doesn't interfere with the wire. And push it flush and give it a chance to set. So here's the completed trap door right there, stop ring right there, PVC cap on the end. Got dog food and beef jerky inside it. Going to put some dog food right there and a little trail up to it. Rat will go in that trap door. Trap door will close. Rat shouldn't be able to get out. I noticed right along the skirting here there's a trail of rat poop. We'll leave this here for a day or two. So I got another fabrication I'm going to put in a hole. I'm going to go ahead and dangle some mouse poison from this cap. and it's going to be strung on this wire that's going to go, and it's going to hang down into this center of this tube. Then I'm going to put this underneath the house and allow them to come in and out this way, and then they'll run right into a dangling piece of poison in the middle of this pipe. And because it dangles, as the mouse eats it, more poison will go down the wire, and it should be kind of like an ever-present piece of poison in the middle. So I was trying to drill holes straight through the long axis of this piece of poison, but unfortunately it just crumbles. So I'm kind of having to break it apart and use smaller pieces, drill holes through that, and stack those up. Well, I've only been able to get that many stacked up, and I wanted to get probably about 8 inches. The problem is that they all break up when you try to drill them. No matter how careful I am, no matter how small of a drill bit I use, this isn't working. So I'm going to go ahead and install this anyway while I figure out plan B. And if you look inside the pipe there, that's what the rats and mice will see. So I dug out the hole and removed the rocks where the rats were coming in and out. And I just went ahead and stuck this 3-inch PVC assembly in here. Now I'm going to prop it up with rocks and dirt. So really the only way they can move out and in is through the pipe. Now I've given them a nice little hole here where they can run in and out of through that pipe. The poison's dangling down in the middle of the pipe. And if I ever find out a good way to dangle that poison so it will self-feed, I can just remove my cap, extract the whole thing, and then put the poison back down the hole, and I don't have to move any of these rocks or soil. We're making a little progress. My able assistant came up with the idea of just using a sewing needle and some thread to push through the blocks of bait. So I took the ones that we broke, and I was able to get 1, 2, 3, 4, about 9 of them on there, and I'm not finished. So we're going to go with this just because we got what we got. We're going to put this in under the skirting so the rodents can come in through and go out through here, and then they can go out from under the house this way. So we have our bait dangling on the sewing thread, and we tied it off to a piece of wire on the pipe cap. Now we just put it through this vertical piece here, push it down, and the bait is dangling inside the access and egress for the mice. I went ahead and adjusted it to give the mice a little bit more clearance to come in and out. The bait's dangling there in that center piece. We're just going to put it as far back there as we can, but not too far. The mice can get in from either side of that T back there. So there's a finished installation once I've added back some rocks and soil. Now we're gluing 2 surplus lounge chair cups together. We're going to cut a hole in one end and make a bait station. This is just repurposing material. So we simply cut a square opening with our knife here, and we're just going to lay that in the shed, as we've seen some mice in there today, and they'll go in through that hole, hopefully get the poison, and they'll be gone. Well, I want to recap where we are on the war on rats and mice. Frankly, this stuff here seemed to work okay. I spread it out 2 nights in a row, just in little clumps where the rodents go in and out from underneath the house, and everywhere I spread it, it was gone in the morning. We tried fabricating some PVC traps. This one, the jury's still out on it. That door is a little temperamental. The mouse traps that we set, frankly, were disappointing. All these traps were tripped. None of them caught any mice. We also tried to fabricate some bait stations out of PVC pipe. We placed those in 2 places underneath the house. We had a lot of challenges with hanging the bait, but that was probably the biggest disaster of the test. And so the jury's still out on those things until we can figure out a better way to hang that bait. The big rat traps are still out there. They're set. They hadn't been tripped. So we'll see what happens tonight with those. Well, it's the morning after the day that we set these traps. We heard a bunch of noise underneath the house right here where this big hole's been. So I'm going to pull these traps and see if anything sprung. The big trap is not sprung, the little trap is. So that's unusual, given the amount of noise that we heard last night. It's about 13 to 14 weeks later since we finished the first part of the video. And we've come back and we've seen less evidence of mice, but there's still some evidence. So we're going to go around and look at the holes that we had about 13 to 14 weeks ago and see if there's any change. All right, this is one of the bait stations that we put out. As I look down in the pipe, I really don't see any mouse poison down there. The thread's obviously gone. And here's another bait station that we made. Again, we hung the mouse poison by a wire. It wasn't on there really good because it was kind of crumbly. But I don't see anything down there. Or yeah, the animals could get through there. But I also put a big rock over that part of the hole right there, and they pushed that rock out of the way. So I'll rebait this, reinstall it, put the rock back over it. Okay, I bought this mouse poison at Home Depot. It's got holes pre-drilled in it already, so it's not going to crumble apart. I had to buy it with a bait station. That's the only way it came. These blocks, looks like they'll fit nicely down this pipe. And I can go ahead and hang them by the wire that I already had made. So thread these up there like that. If you look inside there, you can see that that is hanging down about just a little bit more than half the diameter of the pipe. So it's hanging in a pretty good place. Okay, so this one's ready to go back in the hole where it was. I've dug this out a little bit to make it easier for them to come in and out. And I'll put the rocks back on top of it. Hopefully that'll do it. So I pre-measured this, and all I got to do is drop it in here like that. Put the cap down, and it's hanging down at the right height. So we'll keep an eye on this over the next few months and monitor how our bait is being eaten. We're also kind of clearing the land around here, also taking away a water source from the air conditioner condensate line that might attract some rodents or some snakes. And by clearing the land out, making it a fewer places to hide, going ahead and put the poison out, hopefully we'll have our rat population go down, and if our rat population goes down, hopefully our snake population goes down as well. So that's the whole idea. We'll let you know how it goes. Thanks for watching Corporate Gone Country today. If you like what you see here, please like and subscribe. Bye now.